Welcome, radiant Leo souls, both those who've been roaring with us since the beginning and those who just wandered in mid-scroll, wondering why their heart suddenly started beating louder than usual. You've found your way to Golden Fortune Leo, where we don't just dabble in horoscopes, we translate the language of the cosmos through the lens of ancient astrology, grounded psychology, and a sprinkle of Buddhist wisdom. I've spent years studying not just the movement of the stars, but how those movements echo through your mind, your choices, and yes, your late-night existential spirals. Whether you've survived multiple Saturn returns or just discovered your rising sign last week, this space was built for you. Now, let's get into what I call the celestial memo from upstairs. That strange pull in your chest? That unshakable sense that something bigger is trying to get your attention? No, it's not bad pizza. It's divine alignment. The universe, your heavenly director, as I like to call him, is tapping the mic and saying, Leo, the spotlight's back on you. And it's not just about flair and fire this time, it's about purpose. You didn't just stumble on this video. You were summoned. Let's be real. You've been the hero of other people's stories for far too long. You've carried emotional suitcases that didn't even have your name on them, dragged drama you didn't subscribe to, and gave strength like it was on an eternal clearance sale. Your Father in heaven sees that. Every heavy sigh you've released at 2 a.m., every moment you kept it together when you were quietly falling apart, none of it was ignored. And now? He's not sending signs. He's taking action. This isn't punishment. It's rescue. So, whether you're here with Leo's sun, rising, or just vibing with that royal fire, this is your moment. And yes, I'm talking to the chosen ones, the Leos who came into this life to lead, heal, and inspire, but forgot for a minute that even lions need to rest. Your stage is being reset. Your light is being recalibrated. The only question is, are you ready to stop surviving and start truly shining? Let me be clear, Leo, what's arriving in your life right now may look like a warning on the surface, but peel back the cosmic wrapping paper and you'll see something else entirely. It's a love letter. A deeply personal, divine, handwritten message from your higher power, sealed with purpose and a touch of tough love. And I say that as someone who's spent a lifetime decoding what the stars whisper and what the human soul can't quite say aloud. The universe isn't in the business of scaring you straight, it's in the business of waking you up. This isn't punishment. It's preparation. The changes ahead aren't destructive, they're redisruptive, sure, but only in the way a lightning bolt is disruptive to a dark sky. This isn't the end. It's the ignition point. Now let's talk about that little knot in your gut you've been pretending is just stress or too much coffee. It's not paranoia, it's spiritual Wi-Fi. You're picking up heaven's signal, and yes, it might feel like buffering. That's because your soul knows something's coming before your mind can make sense of it. You're not losing it. You're aligning with it. You're not unraveling, you're receiving. Welcome to the update your soul subscribed to before birth. But here's the catch, your light, Leo, is flickering. And no, that's not a dramatic metaphor. You've been shining so hard for others, you forgot to recharge. You've lit rooms where no one thanked you. You've stayed glowing when others dimmed. And now? You're running on low cosmic battery. The universe has had enough of that nonsense. Because you, Leo, are not just any zodiac sign, you're one of the chosen ones. A light worker in a world too often afraid of its own shadows. And a light worker running on fumes can't illuminate the path for anyone, not even themselves. So what now? Well, depending on when you were born, the stars are handing you a personalized cosmic challenge. Early July Leos, the spotlight is swinging toward your career. Your soul's GPS is yelling, recalculating, and you'd do well to stop ignoring it. Mid-July through early August Cubs, your love life's divine train is either arriving or departing, and yes, it's probably late, loud, and full of unresolved emotional baggage. Buckle up. And for my late August Lions leaders in hiding, it's time. You're being called into a new kind of leadership. One that's more than charisma. One that's soul deep. It may scare you. Do it anyway. Because here's the bottom line, the universe isn't asking for perfection. It's asking for participation. Let's talk about something Leos rarely hear. True strength isn't just about giving. It's about knowing when to receive. And yes, I know, the word receive might make you a little twitchy. After all, you're the Zodiac's designated giver of light, emotional rock, and loyal protector. But here's a cosmic truth I've learned over decades of watching Lions burn out under the weight of everyone else's expectations. You're not a vending machine of love and loyalty. You don't just press B2 and get endless emotional support with a side of lion-hearted encouragement. You're a soul, not a service. And even the sun needs to rest behind the clouds sometimes. Right now, a divine window is creaking open just for you. And let's be honest, divine windows aren't like drive-through windows. They don't stay open while you overthink your order. This one has a shelf life. Your heavenly team is assembling the right people, opportunities, and resources like cosmic chess pieces. But none of it matters if you don't show up to the game. It's time to walk out onto the field of your own life, not to prove anything, but to receive what's been waiting for you. And yes, that means letting go of some things too. Starting with those emotional vampires, the ones who show up with empty cups and expect you to pour from your last drop. You know who they are. It's time to say no to the drains and yes to the dreams you tucked into that mental drawer labeled someday. Newsflash, someday isn't a real day of the week. Every challenge ahead isn't a punishment, it's either a blessing in disguise or a test dressed in chaos couture. Either way, it's designed to help you evolve into the version of yourself who doesn't just inspire others but feels inspired again. And when it comes to abundance, you've never been denied. You've just been too humble, too cautious, or too loyal to claim what was always yours. You're not asking for too much, Leo, you're asking too little. The universe isn't withholding. It's waiting on you. So, the next time life knocks, don't just open the door, step out like the royal soul you are, and say, "Took you long enough." Let's have a little heart-to-heart, Leo, from one old soul to another. You've been radiating so much light lately that it's no wonder a few people have started treating you like their personal solar panel. Yep, someone's been siphoning your sunshine. And not in a cute "let's bask in your glow" kind of way, but more like plugging into your spirit without asking. It's time to set some boundaries, not because you're bitter, but because you finally understand that sacred self-respect is non-negotiable. Think of boundaries as love with a backbone. They're not walls, they're filters. And darling, not everyone deserves front row access to your heart just because they know where the door is. Now, deep down, you've always known you weren't here to play small. Maybe you've flirted with fame or tried to dodge the spotlight altogether, but the truth is impact has always been your destiny. You didn't come here to be ordinary. And no, this isn't some spiritual sales pitch. Your purpose isn't a prize you have to earn. It's a calling that was tattooed on your soul before you ever learned how to doubt it. You're not unqualified, you're chosen. That nagging feeling that you're meant for something more? That's not delusion. That's direction. And here's the thing, heaven isn't hovering over you with a checklist and a lightning bolt. This isn't an ultimatum, it's an invitation. Align with your truth, and things move faster. Stall? Well, then you stay exactly where you've been, frustrated, tired, and wondering why nothing feels quite right. Heaven doesn't punish hesitation, but it also doesn't waste momentum. Leo, you're not just a zodiac sign with flair. You are humanity's emotional backbone. You carry the collective heart chakra. No pressure, right? But here's the kicker, you can't uplift others if your own system is glitching. You have to prioritize your healing not because you're broken, but because you're too important to burn out. Self-care isn't indulgence for you. It's divine maintenance. Those hardships, they weren't cosmic mistakes. They were spiritual boot camp. Every storm was strengthening you, every detour refining you. You weren't being torn apart, you were being tempered. You are not fragile. You are forged. And your next chapter demands nothing less than your fully healed, fully lit self, unapologetic and unstoppable. Let me offer you a gentle heads up, Leo, from someone who's spent decades studying the stars and decoding human nature, with just enough Buddhist insight to know when the ego's playing dress up. Right now, the universe is whispering in your ear through what you might call coincidences, but don't be fooled. That random conversation that somehow touches your most private thoughts? Not random. That opportunity that seems way too risky but shows up at exactly the right time? Not a fluke. And that sudden rush of clarity followed by an unexplainable urge to finally act on something you've been avoiding for years? Yeah, that's not caffeine. That's divine timing. These aren't just moments, they're your cosmic breadcrumbs. Follow them. Now, as you do, be prepared for a little pushback. People around you may raise eyebrows, whisper, "You've changed." But the truth? You haven't changed. You've come home to yourself. You've peeled off the layers you wore to keep others comfortable. The masks, the armor, the agreeableness, they're falling away. This isn't reinvention. It's remembrance. And while we're on the topic of return, let's talk healing. Emotional echoes from your past may come knocking soon. Not to punish you, but to free you. You don't owe anyone access to your energy. But you do owe yourself the gift of letting go. Forgiveness isn't always about them, it's how you set your own soul free. But don't get too cozy just yet. Within the next 3 to 6 months, life is handing you a pop quiz on your growth. The universe is basically asking, did they really learn, or were they just spiritually flirting? It may come disguised as a job, a relationship, a decision you don't want to make, but it's coming. And it will test whether you cave under pressure or rise and claim what's yours. And here's the part most people forget, the divine setup is already in motion. Everything, yes, everything you need is already moving toward you. The people, the tools, the moments of clarity. But Leo, this isn't DoorDash. You can't just wait on your couch and expect a miracle with fries. You have to get up, open the door, and meet the blessing halfway. Heaven's delivery policy is clear, participation required. Let's take a breath, Leo. You've made it this far not because life has been gentle with you, but because you've been resilient in ways most people will never fully understand. And here's the truth that only a seasoned astrologer with years of star mapping and soul tracking can tell you: your reaping season has officially arrived. That's not just a poetic flourish, it's a cosmic fact. The seeds you planted in silence, the support you gave when no one was watching, the strength you offered when you had barely enough for yourself? God saw it. The universe saw it. Even if the world never clapped for you, heaven kept the receipts. Now it's time to harvest not just vague hopes or pretty sentiments, but real, tangible joy. Joy with weight. Joy that sticks. Joy that finally feels like it's yours. And while we're on the subject of cosmic justice, don't be surprised if a thank you floats into your life from someone you never expected to hear from again. Maybe it's a person you helped years ago, or someone who watched you navigate your storms with grace and took notes. Karma may take her sweet time, but she never forgets. She shows up in heels, clipboard in hand, checking off names. And guess what? Yours is glowing. Now let's talk family. You might be hoping they'll finally change, say the right thing, or act the way you always needed them to. But that might not happen. What will happen is you. You're changing. You're growing past the patterns, the roles, the old emotional contracts. Your peace no longer negotiates with dysfunction. Your heart now comes with a clause, do not disturb unless you come in love. You've probably wondered if you're behind in life. Newsflash, divine timing is not delay, it's design. Those so-called setbacks? That wasted time? That wasn't lost, Leo. That was sacred prep. You weren't benched, you were being built. You're not late. You're on divine time, and right now, you are exactly where you need to be. And if you've ever questioned whether your life has made a difference, let me say this clearly, your legacy is already alive. You may not always see it, but someone out there is breathing easier, standing taller, or loving themselves more because they saw you do it first. Your light didn't go unnoticed. It created ripples, some quiet, some loud, but all powerful. Now here you are, Leo, standing at the cosmic fork in the road. One path leads back to comfort, routine, and shrinking to fit. The other? It leads to everything your soul came here to experience, full expression, full presence, full fire. The question isn't whether you're worthy of the bigger life. The question is, will you rise to meet it? This is not the time to sparkle quietly in the corner. This is your moment to blaze like the actual sun you are. And not just light up the room but the world. And if all of this hit you in that soft but fiery Leo heart of yours, that's not a coincidence. That's confirmation. That heat in your chest? That's your soul saying, this message was meant for me. Don't ignore that. Don't brush it off. And for heaven's sake, don't dim it. So let's end this the way all Leo moments should, with pride and purpose. Drop a comment and let me know where in the world your Leo energy is roaring from. Share this with another lion who needs to remember who they are. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join this pride for real. This is Golden Fortune Leo, where we don't just read your stars, we help you rise into them. You've given the world so much light, Leo. Now go enjoy your life like the royalty you are. You've earned it.